Hey everybody, what's going on? Dace here, and today we're going to be checking out my hard mode clear in Ghostblade. I did do a normal and hard mode the same night, sometime last week, and essentially what we're going to do is I'm going to space out the two videos. This one I'm going to share a bit of the history that I have with this game. That's going back to 2019, I think it was, and just the difference of the approach at that point when I was pretty much a brand new player to how I went about it this time. And then for the normal mode, I will be touching on why I enjoy the game and that kind of stuff, and maybe focus a little more on the actual run itself. So yeah, this run we're not really going to be touching on any like stage details, paying too much attention to the run. It's just going to be a bit of a chat about different things. So anyway, this was one of my earlier shmups that I got into, and I was like, I cannot express how novice I was at the time. Like the section just at the start, or like shortly after the start of this stage, where those lines of enemies come out straight across from the sides. I remember stuff like that, like those guys right there that we just saw. I remember things like that just catching me off guard or having me so on edge because I was just so unused to, just so not used to playing this kind of stuff. And so it was kind of a matter of like, oh, I know it's coming, like, oh, they're just gonna come flying out of nowhere, it's gonna happen like any second now. It was just crazy. Like, it's so wild just to jump into shmups for the first time, and not only that, but also into gaming, because for those who don't know, I stopped gaming after PlayStation 2, and I didn't do anything until Switch came out. So it's not that I was like completely, like it's not like a shmup specifically where anything crazy. Like everything was kind of just crazy. Like platformers felt crazy all over again, because I was just getting into gaming, and it was just a wild readjustment after so many years of not touching games. So obviously that didn't really contribute to feeling confident or that kind of stuff, or having any clue how these games worked. And it's funny because I remember the first 40 hours of playing this game, I didn't realize that if you point blank an enemy, then you get like a big stash of bonus points, or like the gold medals or whatever. So things like that really changed the way I approached the game. So very quickly, I didn't fiddle too much with normal mode when I first got into this game. I kind of just decided, you know what, I want to play in hard mode and just go all out. I had no idea what a 1cc was at the time, or at least my like I knew, like, okay, you want to, like, or at least my intention was to beat the game without any sort of continues, or however it works in this game, I don't recall. But it's not like I was aware of that being an actual 1cc. It was just like, oh, okay, I want to do this without gaming over, or game overing, or whatever you want to call it. So long story short, I committed myself to being #1 on the Switch leaderboard for hard mode, and also being the first to hit 4 billion, and just clearing the game. And I was tackling all three of those objectives simultaneously. And at the time, like I said, I was very new, so I had no idea what I was doing. My approach to practice and all that kind of stuff was very, very amateur, very excessive, like just tons of hours, like 3 to 5 hours per day, just crazy stuff. And the things that, how to word that, like, yeah, I think a great example will be the final boss. Like the pink shot pattern during the final fight. I remember that feeling like an impossible thing to dodge. Like when I went into it at the time, my thoughts were just like, oh my god, like I have to have bombs, like no one can like avoid these bullets. Like the whole screen is just loaded, because I was just so new that it's just perceived as this huge wall of impossibility, and you have no idea, like your mind doesn't even know how to process it. And it's funny because I jumped in maybe half a year ago, just for like a single night of just seeing how things went and all that kind of stuff. And when I got to the final boss, it was like the biggest eye-opener to how far I've really come, because the same pattern felt like child's play to me. It's just so interesting to be able to see the comparison, because you remember what your initial thought was, and then you're seeing the same thing, except it's nothing. Like, it poses no issue. You're dodging it easily and all that kind of stuff. So, I eventually did get first place. I held that for about a year. What's really interesting to me is I got that with pretty much just perfecting the first stage for score, and then after that it was kind of just survival. So I think I'm in 3rd or 4th place now, because others have jumped back onto the game or just decided to pick it up and play it and score higher. But at the time, that was a big deal for me, like getting first place and just the journey. Like, I learned so much. And what's wild to me is when I see the current scores, I know for a fact I can, if I was going to jump back in, I really don't want to score again, because like I put so much time into this game, I'm not interested. But when I see the score I had from just the first stage, and then like sloppy stages 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's just like, I know I can do better. I know I could just crack it wide open if I really committed to just breaking the game down to a science. And that's exciting if I ever do decide to jump back in, but that's not the aim right now, because, yeah, like I said, I'm not really wanting to put that kind of time and energy into this particular title. But anyway, that's just a bit of the story. So this time around, I didn't care about score. This was just about clearing it. At the time, I was doing, like, playing this game in that main phase that I had back a few years ago. I wasn't in, like, since I had really no idea what 1cc's were, or even viewed them as anything to record. I wasn't recording at the time. I did have a partial run. So here's the thing. The time that I did score first place and hit like on the leaderboards, that was a run where I didn't actually clear it. And I did record that because I wanted proof, even though at the time I wasn't like sharing it. It wasn't made public or anything like that. I didn't upload it. It was just for my own personal records. But yeah, so anyway, last week when I decided to do normal and hard mode, it was more about just, okay, I actually want to just clear these, have a recording of them, so that I can share a bit of the experience. Because even though I've talked about this game before, not everyone has heard the story, or maybe you don't even know about the game yet. And it's a pretty cool game. I really enjoy it. It's not going to be for everyone, but I enjoy it for what it is. So anyway, this time there was no scoring in mind whatsoever. This was strictly a matter of stocking bombs. And here's another interesting thing. I totally forgot that the way you accelerate the rate in which you gain bombs is by using as much concentrated shot as possible. So you'll see me doing a lot because I did the normal mode clear just playing normally without that knowledge. But when I jumped into this, I very quickly remembered, oh yeah, that's how it works. And so I think I like just went to town, like soaking up as many bombs as possible. And that's the strategy here, is just get loads and loads of bombs, as many lives as possible, and just cruise through the whole thing. I'm certainly not playing the greatest. This is kind of just like, okay, I'm going to clear it, and I don't really care how that pans out, even if I need to bomb through the final boss or whatever the case is. And again, since it's been years since I played this, there will be some slip-ups here and there and that kind of stuff, but yeah, that's a bit of the history and the approach we're going with. But yeah, like I just remember having such a wild time with this game. Actually, this strat you're seeing, or like this positioning or approach to this boss, this is the exact thing I used to do back in the day. I would kill one of the things on the side, and then all the wing guns, and then I would just cling to the side and stay safe, because the shots from the other guy are never going to hit you. But if you destroy both of the pods on the sides, then he starts spraying out these orbs, and that's when things get way more dangerous. So you'll always leave one on the side, or at least if you're doing it that way. Oh, I might do a little bit of stage talk, just because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take me to share the story and all that kind of stuff. But I've pretty much said what I want to say, and I think what I will mention is that, like, Stage 4 has always been the bane in this game. Everything else is... Like, sometimes I'll slip up and take a hit in Stage 2, just for something really silly. Stage 3, back in the day, that used to be a really chaotic one for me, but now jumping into it again, it's the easiest thing to maneuver. Now that I actually know about leading bullets astray and creating pathways for myself, and that's just, like, essentially just the fundamentals. Like, now that I actually know what to do in these games, like, a lot of this stuff is just easy to approach. But Stage 4, there is just a lot of chaos, a lot of tiny green shots, dudes popping in from the sides, trying to snipe you and all that kind of stuff. So this is a really messy stage at times, where I can easily take hits or use bombs if I'm not paying attention. But that being said, I do feel like I have a way better handle on it now compared to when I was, like, fresh into the genre and tackling this game. But yeah, oh man, this game is just fantastic. There is a lot going for it, in my opinion. I just love all the colors too. I'm just gonna have some water, because I can feel my throat is getting a little on the dry side. It's all about highways and outer space. I love it. Man, a lot of wicked enemy variety in this game too. And that's the thing, like, man, I almost never hear people talking about this game, but, like, this game shines. Like, even if it's not your favorite, like, oh man. It throws some really, really, really cool curveballs your way. Everything from, like, exploding enemies like that, and just the timing of enemies, like the types of attacks they will do if you don't speed kill them, and that kind of stuff, and just the structure, like the stationary enemies, like the structures, like gun towers, laser pods, or like the ones that shoot spiraling. I don't think there's laser pods. I meant, like, the ones that just do the spiraling shots, and just, yeah, they look like just pink domes or something. Not in this stage, I just mean, I think there are some Stage 2 and maybe some other stages. But yeah, it's a fantastic looking game. Like, holy smokes, the background, just so good. And this was another boss back when I was first playing this game. This first half of the fight was just always really risky, but it's pretty easy stuff to dodge. I do remember thinking that, okay, it's simple, but I would still sometimes take hits, whereas now it's just easier. These dudes, though, there are always 3 of those pods that pop out, and those can, if you can't get over, then it's just safe to bomb if you don't want to take a chance with where their lines are going to come out. But if I recall correctly, this went pretty well. Oh, that was so silly. Man, as if. But, oh, I love the way this game works. I love the way you get bombs. I love a lot of things about it. This is where, oh man, you know you're in the final stage when just everything is being thrown at you. I think that side position is the exact thing I used to do as well, way back. Yeah, I was not taking chances. At this point, like, I know I have the run because... yeah, 4 lives. Even if I take a couple hits here or there, you got bombs and remaining lives, so it's... you're not really going to be hurting too much. Yeah, those are the pink stationary enemies I was talking about earlier. But yeah, I remember doing this. Yeah, actually, if I didn't mention it already, I might have. I'm not sure, because I was rambling for, like, who knows how long. But since I was tackling all 3 things at once, I think what eventually happened is I said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna not attempt to clear it and get in first place and get 4 billion points all in one shot. I'm just gonna go for the score first, and that's when I got it. And then I think, because like nothing was panning out, like it was just, I think the perfection or the super tight playing that it would require for that kind of like try goal, like 3 things all at once, like it wasn't going so well. So the moment I split it up and just said, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do it one thing at a time, it just boom, one thing after another just panned out. So that was a great learning lesson as well. Not to attempt tackling all these things at once when you can just accomplish them individually. That was a very silly hit. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. For some reason, it just... I have no idea what happened there, but it just did that. And this is the attack I was talking about. Like, back in... oh man, like... I remember thinking, like, holy smokes, you have to be, like, a master player to deal with this. And sure, I'm bombing, but, again, that's just because it's been years since I played this. But, like, this is nothing threatening. Easy stuff. And I get that, like, sure, if you're less experienced, it may still feel crazy, but I'm just coming from a place of I know what it used to be like, and I'm comparing it to how I view things now, or my thought when I go and check it out again. And that is the run. So yeah, obviously the score is way lower than my 4-something billion when I was actually playing for score, but yeah. Anyway, that is that. So, yeah, I don't really think there's too much more. It's a nice short run, 18 minutes or so. Yeah, I don't mind that at all, and it's a blast of a game. Like, it's just got all sorts of things. I'll probably space out the normal one. Maybe not a full month, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, who knows. But yeah. Anyway, I think we can leave it off there for now. Thanks so much for listening and for being here. I definitely appreciate the support, everybody. Trust you have a stellar one, and yeah, we'll see you next time.